Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Kopijana Vallabha Girivara Dadi Kopijana Vallabha Girivara Dadi Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Srimad Paramahamsa Parivrajakacharya Vashtottara Shatashi Srimad His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jaya Jayam Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajakacharya Ashtottara Shatashi Srimad His Divine Grace Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada Ki Jaya Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jaya Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jaya Prem Sikaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gauda Bhakti Vrinda Ki Jaya Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopakopana Shamakun Radha Kun Giri Govardhan Ki Jaya Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai Navadvip Dham Ki Jai Ganga Yamuna Mai Ki Jai Tulsi Maharani Ki Jai Bhakti Devi Ki Jai Samaveta Bhakti Vrinda Ki Jai All glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. Okay. Yeah, text. Oh, it's a verse, huh? Okay. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So we're reading from the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 5, the Creative Impetus, Chapter 10, Maharaj Rahugana meets Jadbard, and we're on text 9. So if everybody could please repeat after me. Brahmana Uvacha Tvayoditam Vaktyam Avipraladam Bratu Sa Me Syad Yadi Vira Varaha Kantor Yadi Syad Adigamam Adva Piveti Rashao Na Vidam Vadaha. Okay, so Brahmanu Vacha Tvayoditam Bhaktam Vipralabdam Pratur Same Syad Yadi Vira Baraha Kanto Yadi Syad Adigamyam Adva Piveti Rashana Vidam Pravadaha Brahmana Uvacha Tvayoditam Bhaktam Ivipralabdam Pratur Same Syad Yadi Veda Baraha Kantor Yadi Syad Adi Kamyam Adva Piveti Rashao Navidam Pravadaha Brahmanu Vacha Tvayoditam Bhaktam Vipralabdam Pratur Me Syad Yadi Veda Badaha Kanto Yadi Syad Adigamyam Adva Piveti Rashao Navidam Pravadaha Okay, word by word. Brahmana Uvacha. The learned Brahmin Jadbharat spoke. Tvaya, by you. Uditam, explained. Bhaktam, very clearly. Vipralabdam, without contradictions. Bhartuhu, of the bearer, the body. Saha, that. May, mine. Syat, it would have been. Yadi, if. Veera, O great hero. Maharaj Rahugana. Baraha, a load. Kantuhu, of the mover, also the body. Yadi, if. Syat, it had been. Adigamyam, the object to be obtained. Adva, the path. Piva, very stout and strong. Iti, thus. Rashao, in the body. Na, not. Vidam, of the self-realized persons. Pravadaha, subject matter for discussion. Translation and commentary by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. The great Brahmana Jadbharat said, "My dear king and hero, whatever you have spoken sarcastically is certainly true. Actually, these are not simply words of chastisement, for the body is the carrier. The load carried by the body does not belong to me, for I am the spirit soul. There is no contradiction in your statements because I am different from the body. I am not the carrier of the palanquin, the body is the carrier. Certainly, as you have hinted, I have not labored carrying the palanquin, for I am detached from the body. You have said that I am not stout and strong, and these words are befitting a person who does not know. You said that I am stout and strong, and these words are befitting a person who does not know the distinction between the body and the soul. The body may be fat or thin, but no learned man would say such things of the spirit soul. As far as the spirit soul is concerned, I am neither fat nor skinny. Therefore you are correct when you say that I am not very stout. Also, if the object of this journey and the path leading there were mine, there would be many troubles for me. But because they relate not to me, but to my body, there is no trouble at all. Purport. In Bhagavad Gita, it is stated that one who is advanced in spiritual knowledge is not disturbed by the pains and pleasures of the material body. The material body is completely separate from the spirit soul, and the pains and pleasures of the body are also superfluous. The practice of austerity and penance is meant for understanding the distinction between the body and the soul, and how the soul can be unaffected by the pleasures and pains of the body. Jadbharat was actually situated on the platform of self-realization. He was completely aloof from the bodily conception. Therefore, he immediately took this position and convinced the king that whatever contradictory things the king had said about his body did not actually apply to him as a spirit soul. Om Jnanatimirandasya Gananjana Shalakya Chakshulanvaditamena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Mukam Kadidavachalam Pangam Langayate Gadim Yat Kripa Tamaham Vande Shri Gurun Dinitaranam Vancha Kalptribhishcha Kripa Sindhu Bevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Okay, I'll read the translation again. The great Brahmana Jadbharat said, "My dear king and hero, whatever you have spoken sarcastically is certainly true. Actually, these are not simply words of chastisement, for the body is the carrier. The load carried by the body does not belong to me, for I am the spirit soul. There is no contradiction in your statements because I am different from the body. I am not the carrier of the palanquin, the body is the carrier. Certainly, as you have hinted, I have not labored carrying the palanquin, for I am detached from the body. You have said that I am not stout and strong, and these words are befitting a person who does not know the distinction between the body and the soul. The body may be fat or thin, but no learned man would say such things of the spirit soul. As far as the spirit soul is concerned, I am neither fat nor skinny. Therefore you are correct when you say that I am not very stout. Also, if the object of this journey and the path leading there were mine, there would be many troubles for me. But because they relate not to me, but to my body, there's no trouble at all." So Vrindavan Vilasini is here, and she's reminding me of Dayanidhi Prabhu. So everybody, Dayanidhi Prabhu just had going to have some surgery, so if everybody could just say Hare Krishna for him. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. You're welcome. Some heart surgery, so we wish him the best. Open heart surgery. All right. One more in the afternoon help. Yeah. You're welcome. Okay, so Jad Bharat, he's been acting as if he was deaf, dumb, blind, acting as if he didn't know anything so far in his life. And then he was helping to carry this palanquin, and apparently he wasn't doing such a good job. He was trying to avoid the ants. He didn't want to step on the ants. And then the king got mad, got upset, and started chastising him, calling him, you could say, trying to offend him, chastise him. But Jad Bharat is saying, he's responding very intelligently, and he's saying that actually, whatever you said to me, however you're trying to offend me, this is all relating to the body. So, for example, Maharaj Rahugana is saying you're not very strong, and he said, yes, that's true. I'm not the body. Means because he's saying everything in relation to the body. So a materialistic person, or materialistic people, they see, hey, Hare Krishna. They see everything in relation to the body. So that's their point of reference, and practically that's their only concern: their body and the body of others. It's a very bodily culture we live in, and because it's such a culture, or so-called culture, people they don't really know what to do with themselves. They really don't know what to focus on. Just like the movie industry or the music industry, or practically in any industry nowadays, it's just focused on the bodily, on the body. The bodily conception of life. And whether one is a teenager, or whether one is a young adult or older adult or anything like that, it all just is revolving around this bodily concept of life. Bodily gratification. That's what all the movies are about, and all the music's about, the bodily concept of life. So a devotee of Krishna, they're not really interested in the bodily conception of life. They don't have anything to do with it. They're transcendental to it. And but not only are they transcendental to it, but they are very interested in giving other people a chance to also become uninterested in it. Because they understand that's the real pleasure in life, or the real happiness in life. That they understand that's what life is actually. It means it's transcendental to the bodily conception of life. It's spiritual. So, and a practitioner or a devotee or somebody who's trying to be a devotee or someone who's trying to follow Srila Prabhupada, they're very interested in trying to give out Krishna consciousness as much as possible. And a very wonderful way to do that is to distribute books, to distribute Srila Prabhupada's books as much as possible. And Srila Prabhupada was very concerned about that. Means he really wanted to see it happen. And it is happening all throughout the world. In every country, there's book distribution going on. There's devotees trying to distribute Srila Prabhupada's books. But not only just to distribute the books, but to follow them. To follow the books means follow what Prabhupada said is important. There's a nice quote from C.S. Lewis, who was a nice writer, Christian fellow. He also wrote some kind of, fiction stuff? Yeah, he wrote some fiction stuff. So I guess he was into that too. Ran stories. But he wrote that education without values, as useful as it is, seems rather to make man a more clever devil. So I'll read that again. Education without values, as useful as it is, seems rather to make man a more clever devil. So just to teach people facts and figures, it doesn't really help the world. People just become more clever devils. So then we may say, hey, well, we're not doing that here, right? We're part of ISKCON. We're part of the International Society of Krishna Consciousness. We're above all that, right? We're not just teaching facts and figures. Well, that really depends on the individual. Are they here in the ashram? Are they here part of the Hare Krishna movement, just concerned with learning facts and figures? Krishna appeared 5,000 years ago. Bhagavad Gita has 5 topics. This is how you put on tilak. This is how you you wash your mouth after you're done eating. Whatever it is. There's so many things that we learn, which you could say are spiritual, and they are based on values, right? But there's many demons who know these things. They know them very well. There's many asuric people. There's many materialistic people in the bodily concept of life who know all these things better than us. There's so many Brahmins within India who may be better Brahmins than we'll ever be. I mean, from an external point of view. It means they know about cleanliness and this and that, but how much are they Krishna conscious, right? Or how much are they just in the bodily concept of life? There's many of them who are not Krishna conscious. Very much in the bodily concept of life. So, being members of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, being disciples, grand disciples, being ashram livers, dwellers, we want to not just learn the facts of Krishna consciousness, but we want a transformation to take place. That's the idea. We want a transformation to take place. Or else, what real good is taking place? What can we do to help ourselves and the world if we're not willing to undergo a transformation? If we just say, "Oh, I know 400 shlokas from the Bhagavad Gita," that's good. But how much have we transformed our heart? How much are we a humble devotee? How much are we willing to serve others? How much are we willing to serve humanity? Oh, I know 400 Bhagavad Gita shlokas. Okay, that's good, but one should also be, humble, and they should have the qualities. It's not enough just to know. It's not enough just to know. There has to be a transformation. And as Srila Prabhupada said that about in his translation of the Hare Krishna mantra, he says that people we're in the material atmosphere, and because of that we're not happy, and we're trying to exploit the resources of material nature, which means we're trying to exploit everything and anything we can. People, places, things, anything, everything. Just exploit it. Just enjoy it. Use it for our own self, sense gratification. So this is what Maharaj Rahugana was doing. He's thinking, oh, I'm a big boss here. I mean, it's hard not to think. I mean, he is a king. He's a king, and he's got a lot of opulence, and, they're carrying him on a palanquin. I mean, when's the last time you've been carried on a palanquin? Right? Srila Prabhupada's mother would be carried on a palanquin from place to place. Very interesting, actually. And the idea was that respectable women were carried on palanquins so low-class men wouldn't see them. Very interesting. Prabhupada's mother, like that. But anyways, but he was thinking, oh, I'm a big boss, right? I'm a big boss on a palanquin here. And therefore he was in this mood, oh, look at this fool Jad Bharat. Look at this idiot. He doesn't even know how to carry a palanquin. Now I'm going to teach him a lesson and embarrass him in front of everybody. Chastise him. But then he started to, Jad Bharat started to instruct the king in a very humble way. But then eventually, as we'll see later, that the king realized, oh, this is a great devotee. And he gets off the Vyasan, he gets off the palanquin, and he offers his obeisances and surrenders to Jad Bharat in many ways. So this is the beauty of Vedic culture, that even the kings, even though they may be bewildered by false ego and so many things like that, still they're willing to, you could say, admit defeat. So this is a very good lesson. We should be willing to admit defeat. Means we may be wrong sometimes, and we should be very willing to accept that. Not that, oh, who could correct me, right? I'm never wrong. Or we're very quick to explain how we're not wrong. Hey, well, we go into a whole spiel how we're not wrong. Just like Vaisheshika Prabhu, he quotes this, I'm not sure where he got it from, but he quotes this thing, oh, I live to be corrected. Now, of course, that's a very difficult position to take, right? I live to be corrected means I'm willing to adjust my lifestyle, my thought, the way I think, so on, to be more in sync with reality. And I'm willing for people to tell me that, hey, you're wrong. So there's living to be corrected, right? Which I think we were joking some time ago, but which is different from, oh, I live to correct, I live to correct others. So, but like Abraham Lincoln, now of course we don't agree with everything Abraham Lincoln said or stood for, but he said one thing one time which was interesting, and he said if someone has someone could criticize, sure, but they have to have the heart to help, or else better not criticize. So if we're just criticizing and we really don't want to help, or we're not interested, or we don't have the time, or we don't have the energy, or we actually maybe for whatever reason, we're just not going to help, just better not do it. But if we're wanting to help, if we can help, if we're willing to help, then fine, go for it. But that also, we have to be careful, because how much are we actually willing to help? Say, hey, I'm willing to help. Okay, how much? So it's a tough thing, because here Maharaj Rahugana, he's criticizing Jad Bharat, but he's just criticizing on the basis of false ego. Oh, this guy's a fool. He's displeasing me. So within our devotee relations, we may point something out to another Prabhu, another devotee. We may do that. But where is it coming from? Is it coming from the right place? Is it coming from a place of wanting to help, a place of compassion? Is it coming from a place of brotherly affection? And if it's not, just know what it is, that it's born from the false ego, and just don't do it. Like Srila Prabhupada, he said that the only thing he didn't like about being a guru is that he had to correct people. He just said he didn't like it. Although Prabhupada would do it often, but he didn't like it. So if we find ourselves liking to correct people, it's not a good sign. We shouldn't actually like to. In other words, we shouldn't take pleasure in it. But but if we may do it sometimes to help. So but Jad Bharat, it's also a great lesson for us, because he was completely free from false ego. When he got corrected, he said, "Oh, not a big deal. So what? You're criticizing me on all these in all these different ways, but actually, it doesn't matter." In other words, he's completely unaffected from the bodily concept of life. And you have, and that's what it means to be like you could say like a soldier in Srila Prabhupada's mission, to be unaffected. Like one devotee, she told me, and he was temple president of Honolulu, she told me that, she's been around for so long. There was a particular time in ISKCON where this was many, many years ago, and I don't think it would go on nowadays. But she told me that the GBC told her, no women on the altar, get off the altar. And we just, all men, but that was like her service. She was making garlands for Jagannath, dressing Jagannath. It was like, for someone to say, like if you're really attached to dressing Radha Giridhar, and you say, hey, too bad, get off the altar, go collect. It's kind of like, difficult. But she just said, this GBC told her and another woman, no, get off the altar. And this other devotee, she just left. She left ISKCON. She never came back. And she actually joined Siddha Swarup, who is still there in Honolulu, and he's still preaching. And it's interesting because he's quoting, he identifies as a disciple of Srila Prabhupada, and his disciples know that. But he's a big guru there, and he's got some health food stores. Anyways, but she took off, and she would join Siddha Swarup, and she never came back to ISKCON. Whereas this devotee, the Kusha, temple president there, she just stayed. And it's interesting because about 3 weeks later, something happened, something adjusted, and they needed her to do the service, and she went back on the altar. She just kept on doing the service. So it worked out. But she was making the point that, I've been in ISKCON for so long, people say so many things and, criticize and all this kind of, but I just continue. So that's the thing, to be strong and to continue no matter what. Doesn't matter means there may be, unfortunately, sometimes some internal conflicts. Hopefully not. Hopefully we could get away from that. But also externally, internally means internally in ISKCON, internally within ourselves, and of course externally the world. So many things go on. But Judd Bard is just stressing the point, you have to be transcendental to it. Means Krishna conscious. And we should take advantage of what Krishna, Srila Prabhupada's given us. And we're here in America. It's a very free country. I was just visiting, I just spent a little time in Istanbul, Turkey. And devotees asked me how it was, and I said it's very Muslim, 99% to be precise. Which, you know, that's just how, big city, 15 million people. But it's not free like America's free. Means devotees can't have deities. It's dangerous to have deities. Devotees can't have a Murti of Srila Prabhupada. It's dangerous because you don't know who's going to come to the program and who's going to protest. And you don't know, you don't know. Because sometimes people, they have, you know, they're violent and so on. So you don't really know. And also with book distribution, it's not that you just go out and, of course we go out and we have a little, you know, we have some rejections, we have some people not interested and so on. But the devotees there, you can't just go out so freely because of the situation, and you don't know who you're approaching. Maybe you approach someone and it's, you know, becomes a big ordeal. You don't exactly, it might be dangerous, right? So therefore they don't have deities and they don't have a Murti Srila Prabhupada. But they have a restaurant, and then above they have like a Krishna lounge center. And there's many locals come in, and very nice people. And there's local devotees being made and being initiated, mostly by Shivaram Swami and Niranjana Swami. They go there regularly. Vajranarayan Swami's been there twice. But because we're in the country, this is a very free country. I mean, it cannot be. I mean, China also. China, I think, in many ways, it actually, many ways is worse than, actually it is, than Turkey. But in terms of religious freedom, but this is such a free country. Just like I was speaking with a devotee there, one of the, he's the main, it's like leader there. He's a disciple of Shivaram Swami, Nrsimha Krishna Prabhu, and he was saying that people in Istanbul, some of them, you know, it's the world and, you know, the movies and internet and all that and world influence and whatever people's inclinations, but there's a, you know, there's a gay movement there, you know, homosexual movement there, just like there is all over the world. And they try to do, try to walk through like parades, and the police come out, you know, sticks and, you know, gas and everything, and they can't do it. I mean, Los Angeles, Hollywood, I mean, they do it freely. It means they do the parade freely. There's no, not that they have a parade in San Diego, then all the police come out with sticks and start beating them. But they do that there. And right when I got off, when I walked out of LAX, whatever. But what did I see? I mean, I don't think I ever saw it before, but for some reason, I don't know why, but I walk out and I see, you know, two men embracing and kissing, you know, in LA. But you can't do that in Turkey, you know, it's against the law, you know. You get in trouble for that. What to speak of other religious stuff? It's challenging. But still, devotees are there, and they're preaching, and, you know, things are going on. They have books, Srila Prabhupada's books, translated, Bhagavad Gita, some Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, some other books. Shivaram Swami said that if you distribute one Turkish book, that's like distributing 100 Hungarian books. due to the nature, of the place. So I was trying to encourage devotees, saying, "Hey, you're in a good situation. You distribute one, it's like 100 Hungarian books. I mean, that's pretty good." So while I was there, I was walking around town, and I had some Turkish books with me. And some guy saw me dressed like this, and he said, he was a local, and he said, "Oh, I like your outfit." I said, "Oh, thank you very much." And we started talking, and he wanted to take a picture of me, put it on his Instagram. And yeah, I gave him a book. And there's another guy right when I was talking with him to the right of me, and he said, "Hey, are you a monk?" And I said, "Yes." So we started speaking, and he was from a city in Turkey, not Istanbul, but we started talking. Very nice guy, young guy. I gave him a book as well. He was interested in spirituality. He said he wanted to be a monk since he was 14. So he's 20 now, but. And then also some other people, some locals, and then on the plane met some Turkish people in airport, Istanbul airport. I gave someone a book. So anyways, so book distribution's going on there. But for those of us who are here in San Diego, we should take, it's actually a special boon, it's special advantage. I mean, it's free. There's no danger, practically speaking, like there is there. Balboa Park, whatever the beach is, here, there, schools, it's completely free. And the deities, I mean, so we should try to take advantage. And in this way, be transcendental and try to not just distribute the books, but to follow what's in the books. And to know that, the Hare Krishna movement, to join it means it's a place of transformation, not just learning facts and figures. And although it's good, but it's not good enough. So anyways, those are just some points. Does anybody have any questions or comments? Yeah, I distributed one, two, I guess it was something like that. I had some English books too I distributed, somehow or other. There were some locals who spoke English, so I gave them some English books, but yeah, so. What was it? What did he say? Break the world record. Oh yeah, here in California, in U.S., if you distribute a hardback Bhagavad Gita is 2 points, right? And a small Arabic book is 3 points. So if you distribute a bunch of Arabic books, they're trying to encourage devotees to do that. So. Yes.
Thank you for a wonderful class. Nice to have you back, Balaram.
Thank you.
Thank you. You just gave a practical example of a question I'd asked you before you had left when I was reflecting on what Rajananandana Prabhu had taught me and Bhakti Chris when we got to see him. And I'd ask you, he gave us 2 instructions kind of going forward, and one of them was don't ever get in the way of a devotee in their service. I remember asking you that. Well, what does that actually mean, get in the way of a devotee in their service? And you just showed a really good example of that with the Madajis not being able to go on the altar.
Yeah.
And how 3 weeks later, Krishna arranged it so she can get right back on. And the other one left and went on a totally different life path just because of that decision.
Yeah.
So I don't know if we can reflect any more on that, but that was a really great example of why it's important not to get in the way of a devotee in their service and always support them in those endeavors.
Yeah. What was the second thing? You said something?
Devotee in their service and never criticize a devotee.
Yeah.
Never
criticize a devotee. He gave you a hard instruction, huh?
Yeah, because he knew me and Chris were kind of in some leadership positions beginning. And he could see we were green-faced. And he's like, all right, let me help you out here. Don't criticize anyone and don't get in the way of their service. And it was heavy, but it was very profound.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And the don't criticize was so self-evident it didn't need further explanation, but not getting in the way of someone's service.
Yeah.
Maybe you could talk about the importance of that or,
Yeah. Yeah, briefly, there's this, that's an example where this devotee was saying, oh, you can't be on the altar anymore. So you're taking away a service that somebody likes to do without really taking them into consideration. So, or whatever it is, let's say somebody cooks for some program or something, and then we say, oh, well, I want to do it, so you step aside and I'm going to do it now. Well, maybe that person's attached to that service. And devotees are naturally attached to service. I mean, so just to take something away from somebody without their consideration, yeah, we have to be very considerate. Maybe someone's, it's like, maybe they're really attached to cleaning the bathrooms. I mean, that'd be cool if somebody was. You know, to the means the public or whatever. Yeah. But if someone was to say, okay, hey, we got this new bhakta, and you know, we need you to step aside because we have this bhakta, and he could do it, and then the devotee's like, hey, but I like you know, washing the bat. Well, too bad, just step aside. And so to take in consideration, you know, what their people's desires. I mean, devotees aren't stones; they also have desires. You know, think how they want to serve Krishna. So it says that the leader should try to kindle or fan the spark of their desire to serve Krishna, also giving them challenges. You know. So anyways, those are some things. Yes.
And Jed Bharat, he played the role of blind, dull, because he didn't want to get entangled.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But then all of a sudden he preaches to a king. I mean, he can get really, you know, get a lot of recognition, you know, speaking to a king.
Yeah.
So why the change there?
Okay. Well, let's see here. Yeah, maybe he's getting tired of his Mount of Vreta. Well, I mean, one thing I'm thinking is that, like, there's so many injunctions that, like traditional injunction, like for example, okay, don't cross the ocean. It says that those born in India shouldn't cross the ocean because immediately they become fallen. In other words, there's so many principles that are there, Vedic principles, but for the matter of preaching, sometimes devotees don't follow those. Just like Srila Prabhupada, he came to America and was spreading Krishna consciousness all over the world, and he thought that it was his decision to allow women to stay in the temples, which previously has never been done. Similarly with Srila Prabhupada acting as the priest, performing the ceremony for his disciples, getting married. Prabhupada writes in the Chaitanya Charitamrita how he did that. It's actually quite interesting how Prabhupada writes that, but he says he did it, and he said it's never been done in history. And it probably won't be done again in history. It's quite amazing. And many things like that Srila Prabhupada did, or what to speak of giving the Gayatri mantras. I mean, for the Brahmins of India, it's one thing that Srila Prabhupada gave all the people born outside of India the Gayatri mantras. I'm not even sure if they knew Prabhupada gave the, women Gayatri mantras, which, from a traditional point of view, it hasn't been done. But for the matter of how it happened, actually, is Govinda Dasi and some other ladies, Jadharani, there was initiation for the men to get Brahmin initiation to be the Gayatri mantras. And Govinda Dasi and they didn't show up because they were mad at Prabhupada. They wanted the Gayatri mantras as well, and Prabhupada said, okay, and he gave them. So, but for the matter of preaching, so many things could be done. So here, Jad Bharat, Jad Bharat, he's preaching to Rahugana, Maharaj Rahugana. So somehow or other, he just decided to make that decision. Okay, let me preach to him. which you could say supersedes his wanting to not become entangled and act as if he was deaf, dumb, blind, and it's a higher principle to preach to Rahugana. And of course, we're happy because because he preached to Rahugana, now it's here in the Bhagavatam. And of course, even if he wasn't to preach to Rahugana, his life as Bharat Maharaj, his life as a deer, and then even if in Jad Bharat, in his life as Jad Bharat, even if he wasn't to preach, of course, that would just, it would be great, whatever he's done. But yeah, he's preaching here.
I could say maybe he was compassionate. He was, let me help this person.
Yeah.
He's in such ignorance.
Yeah.
Let me help this person.
Yeah, compassion. Yeah, you could see how compassion overrides, because you could say, oh, I don't want to be entangled. So, okay, but here's an opportunity for preach. All right, well, hey, this Maharaj Rahugana, he's a fool. He's gonna, he's going off a cliff. He's in complete ignorance. All right, I'll just let him chastise me, then I'll continue on. Doesn't bother me because it didn't bother him, Jad Bharat. He wasn't bothered by it. But out of compassion, he said, okay, let me instruct this. So, yeah. Yes, Chavita Prabhu.
I gave class. There's kind of two analogies. I may be stretching it a bit. But one that came to mind was, Prabhupada's leaving Vrindavan.
Yeah.
He was situated there so nicely, ideally, But the urgency to preach, to take the chance of, coming to America and getting out of the ideal externally situation, So he sacrificed that comfort, that spiritual comfort, if you will, to preach. But also Shukadeva Goswami, he was just Abadut, basically walking around naked, and wasn't bothered by anything.
Yeah.
But he took this, the opportunity to pass the Bhagavatam off, to speak the Bhagavatam to King Pariksit.
Yeah.
Now, King Pariksit wasn't going to be a king anymore. He was going to die, and go back to God, as it were. But for the future generations, for the welfare of the whole world, he took that chance. So this is the same thing as you mentioned. Because he's a king, as I mentioned, Prabhupada was always eager to speak to leaders of any kind, right, who would have influence over many others.
Yeah.
So it's a big thing when you have a chance, and he took that opportunity.
Yeah, that's a great point as well, that he's a king. Because if he preached to the king, then king has influence of others. If he could transform a king, then yeah. Shukadeva, that's amazing part of the Bhagavatam when Shukadeva Goswami appears on the scene. It's absolutely amazing, the descriptions, But okay, last, Daniel.
Thank you, Balaram Prabhu. Good to see you again. So you said something about how devotees, they don't really care about the bodily functions, just what we might be or what we're kind of our body is doing. But I also know that we're not fools. We're rascals, but we're not fools. And so that we take care of our body. So how does that make us? How can we take care of our body but not be materialistic about it?
Okay, so we're rascals, but we're not fools, huh? All right. Never heard of it. Anyways. Hey, Prabhu, I'm a rascal, but I'm not a fool. Well, yeah, I mean, we need to be practical, take care of the body. Of course, you could say if we're like Jad Bharat or something, we could eat burnt rice and, all these different things. But it's, this is Jad Bharat. But Srila Prabhupada said we should be practical, right? Means everybody knows, everybody here is familiar with how to live a healthy life. And if you're not, then you speak with somebody who does know how. But I think everybody here is familiar how to have a healthy life, through Ayurveda, this and that, and regulation and so on. So, yeah, just to be intelligent. And also, of course, it's not, this is San Diego. It's not like it's Minnesota or something. So it's not like it's like, freezing cold. And well, in comparison to Minnesota, it's not, but it is a little cooler in these months, so, and there is a tendency for, germs to get around, right? People get sick. So yeah, I think devotees should take extra precaution. Means taking some extra, I don't know, maybe vitamins or something like that to kill certain things within the body that may want to breed. To get enough sleep, it's very important actually, because if people don't get enough sleep, sometimes they fall sick. You eat too little, you fall sick. You eat too much, you fall sick. You sleep too much, you fall sick. You eat, you sleep too little, you fall sick. So, anyways, to be regulated in all these things, to keep warm, right, means the rooms need to be warm, right? The body needs to be warm, the feet, everything. So, of course, these are kind of practical things, and what's the use of bringing them up? But, men sometimes are kind of seen to be kind of like radical and don't take care of themselves sometimes. Whereas, anyways, just psychologically speaking, women have a tendency to take care of the body, and men kind of just, they say women that actually live longer. It's a reason. Men want to do like radical things, like, I don't know. Anyways, so we just have to be careful. So, yeah. But, I mean, exercise, but yeah, we're not trying to be like, what do you call? Bodybuilders or something like that. Yeah, dance and kirtan. Harinam Sankirtan, that's the best, right? Jump up and down, dance and ecstasy. So, yes. Okay, Triveda Prabhu has
The text of the Bhagavatam. Canto 1, Chapter 2, Text 10.
Oh yeah, great.
Life's desire should then be directed toward sense gratification. One should desire only a healthy life or self-preservation. In other words, the body is a tool to serve Krishna. Just like
Yeah.
you're not going to take care of the devotee paraphernalia. This is
Yeah,
devotee
we have to take care of the body. One devotee actually in Los Angeles, he told me recently, young, I mean he's, I don't know, he's 40, whatever, but 2 or something, but he told me, he said, hey Prabhu, you gotta be careful. He said, you gotta, there's a lot of sugar in the temple. Because Krishna, that's his diet. I mean, sometimes people come to the temple, oh, why is there so much sugar in the diet? And it's like, hey, well, that's Krishna's diet, sorry. If you don't like all the sugar, distribute it. It means distribute the prasadam out on the streets or whatever. You don't have to take it. Yes, but he was saying, you got to be careful. Because he said he has diabetes, And he said part of it he felt was, being at the temple and this and that. But through exercise, chanting and dancing and whatever some exercise devotees do, and by trying to regulate, the diet, then, yeah, that could not attack. But he was saying to be careful, so. All right. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.